Hi, my name is John, and I'm one of the hosts of Pint Comics. If my co-host Lloyd was here, he'd tell you two things about this show. That we swear a little bit too much, and we drop spoilers like it ain't nobody's business. Listen in and enjoy the show.
Well, that's heavy. Really heavy.
Oh, Mama.
Right. Or it might be just a tad cold. Right. Ooh.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Pint o' Comics. I'm John.
And I'm Joe.
And I'm Random Randy Savage. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to introduce him, but that's cool.
Sorry. I always get into it. When people are like, oh, I'm first. You're like, oh, I'm Random Randy Savage. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's get right into it. We got Random Randy Savage here. We're going to let him explain Cult 45, the podcast, but I will tell you this. I started listening in earnest this year, early this year. I only listen to maybe like 7 or 8 podcasts regularly, but it is a regular one, and it's easily the funniest one I listen to. You guys, you and Beat 'em Down, make me laugh. I'm because I have a short commute. So I am about 3/4 of the way through your Dune episode.
Awesome.
I haven't seen Dune. I saw Dune in the movie theaters like 2 or 3 times because I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And we used to just go to the movies all the time, me and my friends. So even though Dune is like this thing that no kid can really wrap their head around, it was a space movie and we would just go and go and go. I haven't seen Dune in probably 20 years. I maybe saw it once as an adult, but I'm actually planning on throwing it on again. Because the way you guys talk about everything, you're bringing memories back, like the tooth gas, like that whole thing. Out of my head. So it's you guys just do a great job. You guys, you do a lot of current things. You do a lot of older movies. But I want you to explain it. But the first thing before you actually explain what Cult 45 is about,
Okay.
You weren't originally on the show, right?
No. I was actually a listener first. And then I became a co-host.
That's awesome. How did that happen?
So I got into podcasting. A friend of mine was like, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. Do you want to be on my podcast? And I was like, what's a podcast? And then I listened to Kevin Smith and Hollywood Babylon. And I was like, oh, this is a podcast. Okay. And the guy I liked the most was Ralph Garman because he was doing all the voices. He was actually like just pushing the podcast along. And then Kevin Smith was just laughing on his own. And I was like, okay, so I want to be the Ralph Garman to the Kevin Smith, right? So in my old podcast, which is called Dogfin Radio, I would just do that. I would just make all the funny jokes and the guy would just like keep pushing on with our nerd news or whatever. And then he'd give me like a segment at the end where I talk about a comic or a movie or something like that. And it was, I've learned, I don't know what everyone else has this issue where they're like, I hate the sound of my own voice. And then I realized I adore the sound of my own voice. It's the only thing I really like about myself. And I was like, oh, I love when I talk and I like to listen to me talk to me. And I was literally just making these episodes so I could listen to myself, tell me the cool stories that I read about like Why Man or Why the Last Man or like Convergence or what was the one we did? There was a Marvel series in there that I was trying to get into because I was a comics guy in that thing. But I love movies. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to shoot movies. I know all about movies. Like my relationships are based on movies. And it's just like, my guy, the old podcast got us into our Comic-Con here in Houston called Comapalooza. And we had to listen to all the other podcasts. There was Nerdy Bitches. There was Bri-Fi, the comics guy. And there was Cult 45. And I listened to Cult 45. Oh, movie podcast. Yes. And I listened to Street Fighter. I listened to Idiocracy. I listened to Sidekicks. And I was because these are movies I had seen, but there were a bunch of movies I had not seen. And I was like, okay. And I didn't want to like, even in the beginning, it was like, spoiler alert. If you've never seen this movie, go and check out And that's what I ended up doing is watching these older movies and then coming back to the podcast and listening like everyone else should. And then the next year we were going to go again. But then my podcast that I was on, Dogfin Radio, disbanded. And I was like, oh, so I can't podcast anymore. So, but I'm still attached to all the emails and websites that all the podcasters are on. And then Brandon's like, I need a co-host to help me with the con. Is anyone available? And I was like, I can do it. I can podcast. I make funny with my mouth. Please let me pleasure you with my mouth. And like, he's like, okay, sure. We'll just try it out, see how it is. And then like, if we like it, we might, we'll see what happens. I was like, okay, cool. So it's me and him at a live show. And this is episode like 89 of Cult 45. We had never met before. This is our first time meeting. These are two guys just meeting each other for the first time. And I'm like, tell us about these 5 favorite films you have. And I was like, okay. I start talking, I start doing podcasts, and there's people everywhere, there's noises, everything. And I'm trying to like not hit babies with coasters and stuff like that. I don't know. And at the end of that, somebody had come up to Brandon and was like, so how long have you guys been working together? You guys sound like you've been together for years. And it's like, oh no, we've met 20 minutes ago. We're just like, this is the first meeting of two guys. And Brandon's like, hey, so Cult 45 is, it's me now. It's just me. And I need a co-host regularly. Would you happen to be available to co-host regularly? And I was like, of course. Yes. A movie podcast where I can talk about old movies and just keep saying random shit. Of course. I would happily do this for free as long as you let me. And so far it's been about 4 years.
Yeah, you guys are like 330 episodes, right? Around there?
330 episodes now. And I just, every week it's the best part of my week. Literally the best part of my week is coming in, explaining what did I just watch? Like, what did I just watch? And sometimes it's like, okay, I get it, but then I don't get it. I have questions. They're like, and then sometimes like, oh, you guys got to watch this movie. It's so good. Oh, everything's about it so awesome and so funny. And then there's sometimes like with, the one that's coming up next week, the one that's coming up later is our we did a Black Horror Month for October. And one of them is Blackenstein, the Black Frankenstein. And we both just went into this episode just like, okay, you guys messed up. It was like, we apologize to the Dune audience. We're sorry. That was this. That's the thing about people who are like, what's the worst? This is the worst movie I've ever seen. Like somebody like Captain Marvel's the worst movie ever made in ever like 1,000 years. And I'm like, have you seen The Room? Have you seen Birdemic? Have you seen I Spit on Your Grave? Have you seen The War Zone? Have you seen Chud? Have you seen The Toxic Avengers? Like, there are movies that aren't as good and there are movies that are flat garbage. And it's like, we are watching enough bad movies changes your perspective of what a bad movie could be. And it's like, I usually try to do my best to be like, did the movie entertain me? That's the big point. Was it fun to watch? Would you waste your time watching this movie? And it's like, yeah, I'd waste my time watching this movie, even if it was bad. Even after I watched The Room and I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. But I now look back on it and like, it's hilarious to watch. We keep referencing that movie and all of its hilarious terribleness. And it's like, but there are movies like I Spit on Your Grave where it's like, we never talk about this movie ever again because it's not good because it's evil. It's like, no, we don't need to talk about this one ever again. Yeah. And and like, sometimes like that was what I was hoping. Cause as I was listening to Cult 45, I've noticed that they have maybe like 1 or 2 jokes that were continuous. And then when I got on, I did my best to make it where it's like, it's good for first time listeners, but then guys who've been listening forever, they'll get our references and be like, oh, he pushed that guy like 10 feet through back. And like, he laughs because it's an inside joke between the two of us, but it's an inside joke now for longer viewers where we've made that same reference about inhuman characters pushing someone 10 feet through a brick wall or something like that, because it's an inside joke based on a guy we both know. So it's like, like I said, it's the best part of my week. I enjoy making Cult 45 and I hope to do it forever as long as I can, or like make it bigger, better, faster, whatever. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you this right now. We've had a lot of people on and a lot of podcasters on, and this is no slight to any of them, but that was the most impassioned the most impassioned kind of like explanation and talking about one's own show. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, you're not bored with it. You guys obviously enjoy doing it, and you're really good at it. And just so everybody out there knows, you guys are weekly and available everywhere. What's the website if they wanted to go check it out?
So here, I'll do the spiel real fast. I'm Random Randy Savage of Cult 45 Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cult 45 Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch. You can follow us on any of your podcatching apps. That's Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcatcher in the Mouth. But you can come to Podbean, where there's our host site, and they love us. Also, if you like what I'm talking about so far, and you're like, these guys are not so bad, there's also some maybe I could want to listen to them talk about Shang-Chi or Candyman 2021, newer movies, then you can come to patreon.com/cult45 and get an extra episode for an extra $1. For $1.
I'm gonna make you do that again at the end. So I hope you have that all in your head.
Good.
Now
I write it down. I write it down because it's so much easier than like trying to remember it. Wow, I don't know
that was off the top of your head. That seemed like Randy is here on a Pint Movie Invitational episode. He picked a movie. We're gonna get to that in a second. Before we talk about the movie, Joe, I just want to ask you: did you see this movie before?
I have not seen it until the other day.
Okay. Randy picked it. He had not seen it either, which is unusual for a Pint Movie Invitational, but he explained earlier before we were talking that he likes to talk about new things, and it can be boring talking about the same thing. I had seen it once myself, so we'll get into that in a second. But real quick, Randy, to kind of gauge a little bit more your personality, I got 5 questions for you. 5 very simple questions, but they kind of get like an idea of maybe where your headspace is at. Number 1, Randy, soup or salad?
Salad.
Salad. You're a salad guy, or if you had to choose, it's super salad.
If I'm a salad guy, I like big salads. I like salads that have too much stuff on and too much stuff on it that it ends up being not a salad.
That's my.
It's just more of like meat with like a side of lettuce,
like a Southwest salad. It ends up being ranch and barbecue. Or
like if I can get like barbecue chicken covered barbecue chicken with some bacon on top of some with a bunch of ranch dressing, and then maybe a half a cup of like green, perfect salad.
All right. That's my problem too. I like salad, but it ends up looking like it's got a milkshake on top. There's so much ranch. It's just it's disgusting. Joe, I can tell Joe is obviously the kind of guy that actually eats real salads.
I try.
I am curious, Joe, are you a soup guy too? I'm a soup guy. I like soup a lot.
I do love soup. I love a stew. I love all that stuff. Right now, if I seem grumpy, I'm on a diet, and I'm eating real salads. I drop weight, but I'm literally starving. But I have my beer, and I save up calories to have beer at night. So,
all right,
nice.
All right, there you go. Now, Randy, I don't know if this means, and I'm sure it means something to you, but I don't know. It's another food question. You're from Houston, so I was researching Houston fast food. So here's your choice. I don't know if either one of them appeals to you, or if I'm even correct in thinking that one of them is even big.
The answer is Whataburger.
Whataburger. Okay. Okay.
It was Whataburger.
It was Whataburger or Bullrito. I found Bullrito.
The answer is Whataburger.
Okay. All right. I live in Connecticut. Joe's in Baltimore. I don't know and Joe's traveled extensively. I don't know if Joe's ever encountered a Whataburger. So you have. So you've had.
I've never had Whataburger. I've seen them. When I was in Houston, I went to a barbecue joint that I can't remember the name of it now. And it was I think it was southeast Houston. Mm-hmm. And I want to say like Clancy's, but that doesn't sound right. Mm. But it was basically a cafeteria style barbecue joint.
Oh, okay.
Also, the lady said I look like George Clooney. I don't know where she got that, but I was pretty happy.
Oh, that was nice.
She had just been hit in the face, apparently, in her.
Yeah.
No.
She had a concussion.
You look like George Clooney, even though I'm like 80% blind.
Randy, what's the go-to order at a Whataburger?
I like a double meat, double cheese with everything on it. Number 2, basically. So it's a number 2 at Whataburger. I don't need to eat all the fries. So I get a medium fry, and then I get a large, strawberry Fanta. And that's usually what I've been doing now. I don't know more. The idea was to cut carbs, but I ended up making just the sandwich more meatier. You can change the size of the bun from 5 inches to 4 inches. And it's so you have a 4-inch bun with a 5-inch patty on it, and it looks so much bigger. And then it's less bread. And I'm like, oh yes, I'm totally eating this, and I'm cutting carbs, right? Yeah,
inch
whatever.
Of carbs.
An inch of carbs.
Yeah, you're measuring carbs by the inch. I haven't heard that.
Measuring carbs by the inch.
Here's 2 very similar questions back to back, but they're fandom questions. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Okay. Star Wars. All right. Are you a Star Trek
even though the fandom is toxic? I mean, but I still like Star Wars. But I'm sorry. What was the question?
Are you a Star Trek guy at all?
I mean, I've watched it. It's like rain hitting the window on a very cold day. It's like, that's what it reminds me of. That's what Star Trek is to me. It's like you can put it on and you can just kind of relax and just like let your mind just go away. And because in the background they have that like low hum of just the engines going all the time. Like every scene has that. You just kind of listen to that and like you hear people talking like, and it's like, it's just lo-fi kind of like chill, like, oh, this is nice. But and I know there's lore and I know there's storylines and I just like, it's just not that interesting. But I want to be a Jedi. All right. I want to snick, nah. And like I said, the fandom is toxic, but I do like the newer stuff. I like the stuff with Rey. I love the older stuff. I've come around to the prequel trilogy. I understand where the failures are, where it's like, oh, you made this story in the wrong direction. It's like, yeah, we could have gone anywhere, bro. We could have gone talking about Obi-Wan's story and how he dealt with the loss of his mentor and how he tried to train this young person but failed. And it's like, that's the same story kind of, but you kind of put that towards the background for this weird love story that no one really wanted. It's just like, whatever. The Clone Wars does a better job of it, where it's like, yeah, we explain everyone's story. Everyone gets a story now. And I was like, oh, okay.
I've tried the Clone Wars. I just can't get into it. I like Rebels a lot. It's
long. Yeah, no, it's long. There's 9 seasons now. And I'm on season 4. I haven't but I've heard a bunch of stuff. And the Star Wars video games are fun because they're out of canon. And there's Star Wars books that I've read where, again, out of canon, Han Solo and his kids go off and save the universe. And I'm like, oh, that would have been cool to watch. But my hope is with the new Star Wars Visions, because honestly, it does not feel canon at all. So they can do all those cool stories that we're going to have, what was his name? Forgot. Han Solo's kid who ended up being force sensitive and then turned to the dark side, which was kind of like Kylo Ren, but not exactly. And then
Jason Solo? Is that
Jason? That's his name.
Yeah.
Jason. And there was a whole cool storyline with him. And I was like, oh, I would watch that. That'd be cool. But
does he have a machete lightsaber?
Maybe. I mean, yeah, that was the other thing about Visions was machete lightsabers and nunchucks. And I was like, I could dig it. Oh, yes. Do all this.
In the same vein, Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter? Are you a big Potter guy or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a wand. I don't have a dress robes, but I have read the books multiple times. I have watched all the movies. I've read the Golden Child. Yes. The Golden Child screenplay. I've read that. I am a Hufflepuff, and my Patronus is I forgot what that was. It was it wasn't a dog. Was it a dog? It was a dog. It was a dog.
I'm going to say you're a Harry Potter guy if you got a Patronus in the house.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. Plus, the Hufflepuffs are we don't get a lot of, everyone talks about the Gryffindors and their bravery, but they're dumb. And they're the Slytherins and their evilness, but they're, they really just want to be accepted. And the Hufflepuffs are those guys who are kind of in the middle. It's we can be brave. We can also be kind of yeah, I'm not doing that. That's dumb. Let's not do that. Let's all just have a bowl of something, whatever.
Let's all just smoke a bowl of,
let's just smoke a bowl or have a bowl of stuff.
The polyjuice potion.
Exactly.
All right. Let's get into the movie you picked. What did you pick? What movie did you pick for us to talk about today?
So you asked me, and I went through my list because every movie guy has a list. It's yeah, I'll put it on the list. And it's I was just scrolling through it and I found Ocean's 8. 2000 and what's that say? 18 Ocean's 8. And I was oh, I haven't seen this. And I enjoy the Ocean 11 movies. Let's give this one a roll. I know I've never seen it. And all right. I'm going to do Ocean's 8. I would like to talk about Ocean's 8 after I watch it.
All right. All right. Well, let's get into a little bit. Let's get into a little bit about the movie, and then Joe's going to go through who's in the cast. Ocean's 8 was released on June 8th, 2018. This might be, I could be wrong, but to recording, this might be the newest movie we've ever done for an Invitational. Directed by Gary Ross, who made Pleasantville, which I saw once, like when it came out and didn't care, and Seabiscuit, which I never saw. Written by Gary Ross, same guy. He wrote The Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games movie, but more importantly, or more, I guess, wide known, he wrote Big, the Tom Hanks film.
I saw that. Also, Dave and Mr. Baseball, 2 movies I like a lot. I love baseball.
Is Dave the Kevin Kline taking over the president? Yeah, that was okay. That was a pretty good movie.
Mr. Baseball's Tom Selleck in Japan.
In Japan, yeah. I've seen both of those. It's been a long time. Olivia... Yeah, no, they were both pretty good. Olivia Milch co-wrote this. She wrote a movie called Dude, not Dune, Dude, and she's the writer on an upcoming Ridley Scott film based on a Greg Rucka comic book called Queen and Country. I'm a comic guy. I've seen Queen and Country. I've never read it before, but it's supposed to be pretty good. And it was filmed between October 20th of 2016 to March of 2017, all over New York City, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan. Joe, why don't we talk about the extra large cast in this one? Yeah, we know there's at least 8 people in it.
I don't know. I lost how to. I'm not sure if me or the producers couldn't count straight to 8, but
no.
Yeah, I was a little lost.
30.
Well, first off, I mean, October 2016 to March 2017, nothing big happened then, right? So
yeah. Nothing happened.
So they must have not had any problems filming. Okay, so we have, of course, Sandra Bullock as Debbie Ocean. And, I mean, she's a superstar. I mean, she did Love Potion No. 9, The Proposal, and Bird Box. So she knows she has quite a big filmography. And, of course, Speed, Blindside, and Gravity. We have Cate Blanchett as Lou, the nightclub owner. I don't think she got a last name. She's an Oscar-winning actress. Too talented. Miss Ripley, I think, was where she sort of broke out. She did Lord of the Rings and The Hobbits, right? And then he won an Oscar for Aviator, and of course she's in Thor Ragnarok.
You know, I wanted to bring this up because Thor Ragnarok was right before this came out, and Cate Blanchett, she's a good-looking woman, but never appealed to me sexually, in Thor Ragnarok made my penis, pay attention. And then we get to this movie, and she's kind of just back. She's still beautiful, but she's kind of just back to being Cate Blanchett. So I would have preferred more of that gothy, long-haired, black-haired, black eye makeup Cate Blanchett again, but we don't always get what we want.
And Anne Hathaway is Daphne Kluger. She's the planner of the Met Gala. I don't understand Anne Hathaway. A lot of hate for her online, right? I think she's a great actress. She's beautiful. I really don't know why there seems to be so much hate for her, but she got started in Princess Diaries. She did Get Smart, and of course Dark Knight Rises as Catwoman, which I think was her biggest movie, right?
Yeah. And if you want to see her giblets, there's a movie called Havoc.
I've seen Havoc
years ago. Yeah,
Havoc.
It's uncomfortable as fuck. But
and then there's Love and Other Drugs.
I've never seen that, but I've heard she gets pretty naked in that too. Yeah.
And then we have Helena Bonham Carter as Rose Wheel, this washed-up designer. And they put her in some interesting clothes of her own, right, in the show, in the movie. I
thought that was just Helen Bonham Carter's stuff. She normally wears that clothes.
Yeah, she always looks kind of weird in the movie. I mean, she's done a bunch of period pieces. Of course, she did
whatever's in Tim Burton's closet.
Yeah, Tim Burton's closet. Fight Club. And my favorite role was, remember Miami Vice, my favorite show of all time. They have a lot of guest stars. She played Crockett's flight attendant girlfriend who swallowed a Coke balloon and died when it burst right in front of Crockett's house.
Oh, too bad for her.
She was in 5 minutes of Miami Vice.
What? Okay.
We have Mindy Kaling as Amita, the diamond expert. Of course, she's The Office, Mindy Project. She does a lot of voiceovers. I'm actually a big Mindy Kaling fan. I think I like her too. Stuff. She's really dead on with her timing. Rihanna, as the 9-Ball, the hacker. She's an amazing singer. Her only other really notable role is Battleship.
Oof.
I forgot about her.
I liked her in This Is the End.
That's right.
I forgot about
Sarah
that.
Slapped her ass. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But we can talk about cast, the role she plays a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then Sarah Paulson as Tammy, the housewife, who I guess she's a fence and also in charge of logistics, as far as I can tell, because she has a warehouse.
Sarah Paulson is one of the few. I don't know what it is about her. I just don't like her.
I'm the same way.
You know, you're saying the thing about Anne Hathaway. Like, there's very few actors and actresses that like I can't put my finger on it why they annoy me. Sarah Paulson annoys the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you know, Deadwood, right? She's annoying. 12 Years a Slave. Well, she's like evil, right? And then I think she's obviously found her niche with American Horror Story and Crime Story, which maybe
isn't she doing a Miss Ratchet thing, or is that somebody else?
I think that's
Oh yeah.
Yep, Nurse Ratchet. Yeah, I didn't see that because fuck it, it's her.
My wife did she was an extra in a movie called Game Change, and Sarah Paulson played Nicole Wallace, and my wife actually met her and some of the other people in the cast, Woody Harrelson and stuff. And
cool.
I think Sarah Paulson's pretty nice, but just not a fan.
Yeah, I feel bad for not liking her. It's like Richard Gere. I've never liked Richard Gere, and I have no. He didn't do nothing to me. I mean, that whatever that happened with that hamster, possibly, but that's not. I have no answer for that.
There's no proof.
No proof.
No, that never happened. That wasn't a thing.
World's greatest urban legend.
Yeah.
And so then we have Aquafina, the greatest stage name ever. I think that's a pretty good kick. Well, it's like Al Pacino in Tropic Thunder, right? Just came up with something good. Not a huge fan of hers myself.
I love her.
You do, like Crazy Rich Asians. Guess she's going to be in the new Little Mermaid, and tell me what you like about her because I'm not a fan.
I love her show. That Aquafina is Nora from Queens on Comedy Central. It's just a really funny show. It's based on her life. I like her. She's one of my biggest problems with this movie is she's so underused in this movie. Like a lot of the cast is underused here and there.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling, I think is underused.
Yeah,
I think Mindy Kaling gets more to do than fucking Aquafina. I think almost everybody gets more to do than Aquafina, and I would have liked to have seen more Aquafina, to be honest with you. Like Sarah Paulson gets a ton more to do, and I get it. She's more of a name, and Aquafina's kind of an up and comer. But yeah, I don't know. I just like her.
Go through some of the men in the cast. Richard Armitage, I think that's a great name too.
That is a good name. It's a strong name.
That name sounds familiar.
And he's Claude Becker. He's been in The Hobbits. He plays Francis Dollaride in the Hannibal TV show. And John, I have to tell you, you know how we live in a polarized society? Everybody retreats in their corners. Yeah. I refuse to believe that Mads Mikkelsen's a better Hannibal. I'm just not going to watch that show. I'm just never going to believe he's better than Anthony Hopkins.
Whether you think he's better or not, in the end, he's fucking great. The show is great.
Yeah. It's actually really. I mean,
I just can't process it right. I'm just going to. Nothing's coming in here for that. And he's obviously been in a zillion British shows. And let's see, James Corden. He's a late night host. He plays John Fraser, the insurance adjuster. And we know late show host Corporal Karaoke is pretty cool. I don't watch his show except for those clips on the internet. But he seems like a pretty sort of affable guy.
Yeah, I've got no issue with James Corden. I know a lot of people don't like him. I actually found it funny that upon watching this movie for the second time this time, that I wish his character was in the movie more. I thought when you got to the end and we'll get to it, but when you got to the end and his character becomes more involved in the plot, I was interested in his scenes, and kind of his attitude and demeanor towards these people that he knows, what they've done. And he's basically like, look, just tell me where it is. I'll tell them I found it. He doesn't give a shit about putting anybody away. He just wants to do his job. And he's only in 2 or 3 scenes, and then it's like, boom, he's gone too.
I mean, it was shorter than the Ocean's 11 movies.
No, actually,
it's much shorter. They can't fit in there.
It reminded me a lot of that show Leverage, where it's like, I don't really care about the law. I just want to get the property back. That was it. And I'm like,
right.
Okay.
The definition of an insurance, claims investigator. That's all he cares about is where the item is.
And I guess I'll mention Natanya Alexander, who's Nine Ball's hacker sister as well, but she really didn't have anything to do. And for a while, I couldn't tell if she was number 8 or not. And then Shobo Chin, I guess, the acrobat from the other Oceans movies, who really, he didn't really, he seemed like he did actually most of the work.
The amazing Yen. So the Ocean's 8 get together to pull off this heist, and actually, when it comes down to what the real heist is, one of the Ocean's 11 crew actually did all of it.
And then I guess the last couple, a lot of cameos, but also we had Danny Ocean's Ghost, where you get a picture of George Clooney, and I wonder,
does that count?
How did you get paid? How much do you get paid if your picture shows up? I mean, do you have to pay you off a principal? Is it like a SAG rule?
There probably is an image rule of some sort. I'm sure he gets something.
Probably just a base.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we learned from Gravity that I guess you need to have a dead Clooney to sell to have carry the movie for Sandra Bullock.
Well, I didn't even put that together until watching it this time. That Danny Ocean and Deborah Ocean are the Gravity people. I'm like, oh shit, that's the Ocean, siblings.
Ocean siblings.
And then Elliot Gould comes back as Ruben. Has a 2-second role. I love Elliot Gould. I actually don't love his role in the Ocean's movies.
I don't know. I like those I like him when he shows up. Just like, I like his scene with Matt Damon in the first one. It was like, oh, how was your trip up? You like the house? Oh, good. Get in the goddamn house. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt Damon and Carl Reiner filmed cameos for this movie that got cut, which is like amazing that like this movie is short. It's really not that great. And they probably took two of the most interesting parts out of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Carl Reiner, they didn't say why. Matt Damon, at the time this movie was being released, was right around the time of all of the Harvey Weinstein stuff. And Matt Damon was under a lot of fire at that point because he didn't come out right away and say anything negative about Weinstein. So you got this movie, and so what I read
this movie surrounded by women, and it's like,
it's a women surrounded movie. They're releasing it at the same time, and at that point, Matt Damon is kind of looked at as like maybe a little suspect in his actions, so they cut him the fuck out. I don't know what the idea of the scene was, but so yeah, and Saul Bloom, who was the Carl Reiner character, got cut out as well. So is that everything for the cast? Right? That's
I mean, you saw the cameos at the Met Gala.
Yeah, no, we'll skip the cameos.
That's enough. Moving on.
We'll skip the cameos.
Yeah, that's a little pushing it.
So Randy,
Ocean's 85. Okay.
What is the connection? How does this movie start? What is the connection between what we have going on here and the Ocean series prior?
So, if my math is right, this has to be after the third one, right?
Yeah,
Somewhere after the third one, where I am assuming that they are just going along with the storyline that Danny Ocean died in that explosion and he became Ricardo Diaz. But he never told anyone else about it. And he was just going to like live his life with his wife in the ether and then never contact any of his family ever again, I guess. And it's like, there was a bit of like, just for the beginning part, there was a part of me that was like expecting George Clooney to show up, expecting him to show up and save the day somehow. Cause like all the other Ocean's movies have that moment where everything falls apart and there was just one piece of like, hey, guess what? We had a thing that we had just in the background, just in case we needed it. A family member shows up and saves the day. And it's just like, and that was in all the other Ocean's movies except for this one, where I was just like, so you missed a beat. Like, I got it. Both siblings, prison, both siblings like separated from their spouses, causing them to go to prison. Okay. That's the same. Comes out. I have a plan that's going to make us a bunch of money, meets the blonde nightclub owner who is struggling at the same time and hating their life. Okay, so those are the same. And they both have a job. And then the blonde guy is like, okay, well, we need a crew. Or the blonde girl's like, okay, we need a crew. And okay, so far in the first 25 minutes, you guys are exactly the same as Ocean's 11.
The first scene is like literally the same first scene.
Yeah, it's a scene for scene. And I'm just like, okay, we start in the heist movie, we start building the cast of our heist man. They're specialists we have our thief, we have our hacker, we have our, there's never a hitter. Okay. But we have a grifter, and then we have our, there was no driving. So I guess Kate Blanchett did the driving, right?
Yeah, the fence.
They have a fence, but the Ocean's guys didn't need a fence because I guess they were just stealing money, so they didn't need a fence. And okay, we have our crew together, and we explained the plan and how much money we're gonna get. Honestly, I usually love these movies. I love these movies because they're very formulaic. So the idea is not to make the best hamburger, the best looking hamburger. It's to create an experience while you're having the hamburger, like Whataburger does.
Yeah. Well, they skimped on the bun, obviously.
Yeah. There's an inch missing.
There's an extra inch of bun. I took it away. This is more like they just took all the meat out of my bun and gave me a bun. It's like, oh, here's a smaller bun, but there's nothing in between. I was like, oh, because that's what I felt was missing was when we were introducing characters, the characters seem interesting to watch. Like they would have their own storylines that would make me want to like be more invested in them compared to the ocean movies. And in this movie, I'm just like, okay, Cate Blanchett is the Rusty character. Okay. And then we have our fence character. How did we get here? How your husband's okay with this? Yeah, that's fine. Like, I tell him I get him on eBay. But moving on. And
she had a fucking pile of Segways.
Yeah.
And her husband thinks that this is an eBay thing. Like,
whatever. So you married the dumbest man in the universe. Got it. Moving on. Okay. And it's just like, we got ourselves everyone's a hacker. And like, I was like, okay. But you could have shown, I don't know, for as long as this movie is, you could cut out the 40 minutes of showing jewelry, showing artwork, showing scenes of the city, showing like food, showing the gala itself, and add more character stories, character pieces inside to push the like, oh, this character does this thing and she helps out young orphans. This character does this thing and she hates her mom, which they did with the Mindy character. But it's like, so that's like, I've seen this exact same scene in another show from another in the same perspective where like the Indian mom wants you to get married and da, 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 da. And I'm like, so make it interesting, make it different, make it not the same thing. It's like, okay, well, she's going to get married. She needs to pay for this wedding. All right. How's she going to do that? I don't know. Weddings are like expensive as all get out. Like that would be, I wouldn't like, wow, how do you pay for this wedding? And then somebody shows up like, you want to do a heist? You want a heist to pay for a wedding? It's like, yes, I do. I'm like, oh, okay.
Randy, is a wedding $1 million? I don't.
Yeah,
a diamond will pay for like.
But it's like you don't need a lot, right? Like a diamond would pay for weddings and a house and all that forever. You'd be set for life. And it's like that would be awesome. And it's like, okay. And I don't know. It's just this movie felt inoffensive, but in the fact that it was so inoffensive, it was bland. There was nothing. Because in the Ocean's movies, there's some yucks, there's some funny bits, there's things that like make me like, ha, that was funny. I remember that.
You in the Ocean's movies, you feel, at least I do, because I think I get where Randy's at. I don't know, Joe, yet where you're at. In the Ocean's movies, even though the characterization is better of these guys, and you get 3 movies to know them, but let's just say Ocean's 11, right? Let's just say Ocean's 11 because that's a fair comparison, one movie to one movie. You feel like this is a crew and you feel like they knew each other and or know each other, and even the newer guys fit in, right? You don't feel that here because they never give you any time to ever, like you said, have better motive, to have scenes where we see these people getting to know each other better. Joe, one of the things I noticed about this movie, and Randy touched on it, was, do you think, Joe, that this is a case of a movie that is style over substance? Because it feels like they're trying really hard, even though this isn't Steven Soderbergh and it's a different director. Yeah. They're trying really hard to have like those little like kind of like jazzy, like, music beats in between and the quick cut scenes and, let's get the crew together. Do you think that they were more worried about emulating a Ocean's movie than actually making an interesting fucking movie on its own?
Yeah, it's like you read my mind, John. I mean, it was totally, just trying to be, exactly mimicking the Ocean's 11. I think it was, if I wasn't paying attention, I would have thought that Soderbergh directed it. I mean, the same with the cool music and it was cool. But what I think it misses is some of the humor. There's like no humor in this movie. So I think bland is also a good example, a good way to put it too. It just had a little bit of style, but just none of the characters got to do much to me. And there was no really adversity. I mean, they were never really almost caught, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I also think robbing a necklace at the Met just seems boring. I mean, you really want to rob a place that has thousands of people and a ton of cameras that are there, like they would have seen Sandra Bullock walking in there speaking German because she walked right in the red carpet. I mean,
next to Heidi Klum, and no one took a picture of that.
I know.
Ever? Okay, sure.
So yeah, I just think it was bland. I think is what Randy said is just too good.
Like you said, there was no humor and there's no conflict. There's like, it barely, even when they come up with an adversity, like things, oh my God, this is going to ruin everything. They have a fix like no more than 2 seconds later. And it's just
yeah, you're absolutely right.
They solve a problem almost immediately. And I'm just like, okay, I get you have 0 time left, but you cannot do the C-3PO thing in this movie, because like Star Wars could like survive that. We're like, I'm gonna miss you guys. Wait, I got my memories all back. Okay, cool. I was like, what? Okay, whatever. Moving on.
The stakes seem so low, and there's never a point like in at least Ocean's 11, which is the one I've admittedly seen the most out of those movies. There's scenes in Ocean's 11 where, even though in the end you know they're going to win, right? You know they're going to get the money. There's scenes where you're like, oh shit, how are they gonna pull this off? And so, like, for example, there's one scene where we discover that this the target of the heist is the Toussaint. It's this Cartier necklace. It's gigantic, all diamonds. It's been in a vault for 50 years, and it's part of the plan is to get it out of the vault, get it onto Daphne Kluger's neck, who is Anne Hathaway. She's this beautiful, A-list celebrity who's going to be at the Met, and then they've got to try to steal it from her and replace it with a 3D printed version. Okay, that's kind of like the whole version right there. But one of the biggest bits of adversity in this is that they discover that it's held on by this specialized magnet, and literally, like Randy said, within one scene, Rihanna goes, my sister can fix that. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, could we have had a little bit more? Like, my sister, I mean, I think they said something, but like a little bit more. Yeah. My sister is like has a PhD in fucking magnets, and she's an engineer, and like I know that she could figure this out. But instead, it's literally just like, I got the answer for this, And then there's also another scene where, as in any other movie, there would be like real pressure, or where they've got to use a special pair of glasses to scan this thing to make the 3D print version, and Helena Bonham Carter has to have them bring it upstairs because the glasses won't work, the Wi-Fi won't connect, and then it's just this scene where she's for a very long time looking at the necklace to get the full 100%. And as an audience goer, I'm at no point ever going. We're
all watching a progress bar right now, and it's like.
Yeah,
this is boring.
We're watching a fucking progress bar. We're watching a progress bar that we know is going to get to 100, because this movie has proved all the way through that any adversity can be a little sister can do it, or and I think that's like the biggest crime this movie commits is not the heist. It's the fact that it's cookie cutter, and there's no stakes in this thing at all.
It's a crew of Mary Sues. I'm sorry. That was so toxic of me. I did not mean that at all.
Delete that out.
Cut that one out. No.
Guys, Randy has been canceled from this episode.
Oh, no.
Goodbye.
No, the Star Wars caught up with me. But no, just like.
We've Matt Damon'd him.
Yeah, Matt Damon. I'm like, the 3D printing of gems kind of like, all right, I'm gonna let that one go. I'm gonna give you one. You're like,
yeah. But
then you cannot come up with any bullshit science kind of way to figure things out. Oh, we just made it like this. No, you messed up on that one. I just like, okay. And then like this movie hits all the beats where it's like, it's a job within a job about getting the X involved. And I was like, oh, huh. And I even had that same scene. Tell me this is not about her. Tell me this is not about him. What? Terry Benedict. Why are we going after the guy who took your wife? Why are we going after your ex-boyfriend? Why are we doing this thing? Because I went in prison and I lost everything, and because I went in prison, and then he sent me to prison. I was like, oh, so it's a beat for beat, a mirror shot of this same scene that you're doing, and I'm supposed to be impressed, or like. Because I feel like you guys are just doing this because they did it. Like, do something different.
Would you have bought this movie a little bit more, Randy, if it was a remake or reboot like 20 years later? Because that would make sense, right? Like, if you just took, like, let's say, Ocean's 11 probably was close to 20 years prior.
It was.
But like, but we definitely are saying this is in the same universe because the same characters and all that stuff. But like, would you have been more okay with this movie, say, even if it's not that exciting? Is if this was like, totally on its own, and someone said, we're going to redo Ocean's 11. It's going to be about, it's all female leads. And it's because then at least you would understand why they're touching the same beats, because we're touching upon that first movie that already exists. Right. But this is essentially like a pseudo sequel that is, it's very much like Force Awakens, almost like how Force Awakens was kind of like New Hope, just kind of like a retread of that story. Joe, do you feel that way that they did that?
Yeah, and here's my gripe, right? Just give them their own property. Like, you know, like why let these women rehash the same movie? And first off, right, in Ocean's 11, those stars were at the peak of their fame, right? I mean, I think they were all. This is, I mean, basically Sandra Bullock's probably on the downslope of her career, whether it's, you know, fair or not. And you have a couple up and comers, but they're still pretty essentially nobody's to the big audience. I just why can't they get their own properties? Why couldn't they get, you know, a woman to direct it? I just think you don't need to remake the same thing.
I'm always about, if you're going to make a remake or a reboot or like a sequel, then you need to come up with a new idea that's kind of like the old idea. As much as somebody has said, you know, the Wizard of Oz, you know how Matrix is kind of like the Wizard of Oz? That much. That's it. You need to make a Wizard of Oz, but in a computer. Okay, so the Matrix, done. If we're making an Ocean's 11 movie with just women, then it's going to be an Ocean's 11 movie with women that's kind of like, what else do we add in there? We add something more. We give them more stakes. They brush very briefly on the fact that these women feel invisible. So make that a thing where it's like, nobody looks at, like, you'd think a woman would take $150 million, make it so that there's one dumb cop who's like, there's no way she did it. Look at her. She's tiny. It would take a grown man to lift this kind of thing. And they show like how she used her brains like to outsmart the mechanism of the door or something like that. Like, make it so it seems like, oh, of course she did, because of course she did. Like, because that's what we're expecting. We're expecting, and I don't know, it just, there is something missing here, and it could be humor, it could be stakes. I feel like all these are things that are missing, but like a different storyline, because like getting back at the boyfriend and stealing a bunch of money isn't really like, I don't know, it's not there yet. But it's like, but if they got back at the boyfriend for like not only stealing a bunch of money, which I guess they did kind of, but it's like, make him go to jail. I mean, even then, it doesn't, there's not, I don't know. I feel like there's some, like, I can't think of it right now, but I'll probably do it later, where it's like, what would you use to like make it seem like he got conned in all the different ways? Like, I don't know. I would want to surround, like, if the idea is to get back at the ex-boyfriend, then make him the villain, because all the promos and advertising makes Anne Hathaway look like the villain. And for a lot of the movie, she does feel like the villain. And I'm like, okay, I can see you, but you're not really doing anything that makes me feel like you deserve to be in trouble for this.
Anne Hathaway is literally another one of these like shortcuts where she is the mark of the movie. She's not, you know, she's the unwitting accomplice basically to them. Yet when they need her character to do more, she figures out what they're doing and joins the team. Like what, you know, I don't know. Like, and like you said, they did touch on it, like the women feeling invisible thing. And that was interesting, but they just never fucking like really expound upon it. There's one scene at the end that I laughed at, where after the heist is done, and I think it's the scene right when Anne Hathaway comes in and they reveal that Anne Hathaway is in on it. It's a scene where they're all in the loft, and Sandra Bullock's character and Cate Blanchett are looking at records, and all the women are having these little silent movie conversations. It's like, so now we're getting a little bit of like crosstalk between these characters, and we don't even fucking hear it. Like we're on the movie's like 20 minutes left.
That's where I got confused. I was like, so you stole the necklace, you're at the loft, you're hanging out. Are we done? Where's the credits? Like, I guess we're done. And I'm like, there's still half an hour left in this movie. What are you guys doing? Are you guys going to fight each other over it or something? What's going on? Oh, like, there's something missing from this movie, and I feel it like it's heart. Just like, or more cross acting. Like, everyone has a scene, but no one has a scene with like you said, Aquafina is a really funny character, and like Rihanna can be really funny. Though those characters could have a really funny scene by themselves. We cut out 2 minutes of showing diamonds. We throw in some more scenes with like, because there was one scene with Mindy and Aquafina talking about Tinder. And I was like, okay.
And I like that. I thought that was
cool.
That was
add
cool.
more of that.
Exactly. Add more of that. Cut out more of the, you know, there's stuff you could get rid of. There's
stuff in here.
The 8-minute progress bar scene, make it 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, we can find time to make this a little bit more interesting. And it just seems like, I don't know.
Yeah. And like the James Corden character, I would rather him be in the beginning, like show up as the guy who's like, he's the insurance, like we're going to have to add a bunch of insurance. And he shows up to inspect. So those Israeli guys that you had there to like just be there to be nothing, bring in the character who's like, he's constantly watching, he's constantly looking. He's not he's like the Phasma of the group. Like he's the looming figure of danger around the necklace, because those Israeli guys, they walked right past them and no one even noticed. And I was like, so what was the big deal of hyping them up? Like they're basically assassins. And I was like, oh, are they going to do anything? No, they just walk right past them, which would show more about how they are invisible to the male eye. Look right there. Not that hard.
Aquafina walked right by them, right? I think they would have immediately said, "We'll go get that woman that came out of the bathroom."
And it's like, if Sandra Bullock walked by me, I'm definitely like, "Oh, what's up? What's going on?"
Yeah, not to mention like at the time, like 53-year-old Sandra Bullock. So
50, yeah, that's an easy PS5.
the other thing with these guys, like we were talking about with these two Israeli guys that are like tasked to follow Anne Hathaway around everywhere, is they make this huge deal about how the necklace can never get out of their sight. When it does finally, because she goes to the bathroom, they can't go in because Sandra Bullock, and as the German character, tells them not to go in the women's room. But meanwhile, we have a flashback to a scene where the Claude Becker guy is like railing her against a bookcase or something. Where were they then? Like, so they've already proved these guys aren't doing their job all the time. No. I did want to ask Joe. I have a question for you, Joe. Sandra Bullock, we've talked about it. She's, whether she's on the downside of her career, which is true, she's heading into her 60s. Her prime was in the 90s and 2000s, but she's a good actress. She's very amiable. People like her a lot.
Yeah.
Here's something I felt about this movie. She is not, to me, the Danny Ocean type of. She can't hold that type of character. So she's supposed to be this thief and this kind of cool con woman. And when I watch Ocean's 11 and you see George Clooney pop on that screen and Silver Fox and Suits and everything, I believe it immediately, right? Now, there are other roles that I don't believe George Clooney in. I'm sure that I've seen Batman, that didn't really work. But Sandra Bullock, to me, doesn't have, at least for this role, the gravitas that I felt you needed to have for that character. Did you feel that way, Joe, or am I just picking on Sandra Bullock?
No, I think she's a very open, honest, actress. I mean, she's very likable. She really isn't cunning and, deceiving kind of a person. So that's why I think it doesn't work, right? Everyone likes her. She was America's sweetheart one time, and this is just not her role, right? And I mean, I think almost everybody in the movie, maybe it wasn't their role, but I mean, she's great in most things she does. Yeah. Well, see, I thought Kate Blanchett was kind of mailing it in to me.
Yeah,
like she didn't want to be there, but we can. But it just. I think it just part of the whole movie just didn't work. Nobody really seemed to be really into it as much as they could have been. And Sandra just, she has to lead that movie. I think she just doesn't do that type of character well.
Okay, I felt that way. I just felt like, I don't know. I just felt like she didn't really have what it took to ground that character in what I believe. Like, there's a line she says where, she couldn't get her planning done in prison, so she got thrown in solitary. I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't get thrown in solitary. And I was trying to think of actresses that I could believe more in a role like that. And I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I was thinking of Jennifer Lawrence, maybe someone that just maybe isn't. And that's maybe my fault for thinking about Sandra Bullock that way, is that she is like kind of America's sweetheart, and she rarely ever plays, someone that's not necessarily bad, but like, not squeaky clean. And I just felt like she wasn't strong enough to lead this movie, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And you've got a decent cast there. And I just felt like we've said it a million times, so it's repetitive, but it's like everybody is so fucking underused. Like, I felt like Rihanna, her biggest scene in the movie was that she throws that dress on and they have to show you how good looking Rihanna is. And I don't think that's fair to Rihanna, because you know what I mean? Like, I felt like that was like almost like that scene I felt like was more, they tried to make that more important than anything she had set up until that point. Maybe it was just me, but like, you see her in the whole movie and she's got, like the baggy clothes and the big hat and everything. And then, she's kind of in the halal truck in that uniform. And then they all have to wear their dresses. And I felt like the camera particularly spent more time on her to almost like make you go, oh, wow, this woman's attractive. Like, Yes, we know she's attractive. You can tell she's attractive before.
It's Rihanna, of course. She's
It's
like, what?
Rihanna. It just, I don't know. Maybe
Besides singing, what else is Rihanna known for? Being stupid hot.
I mean, do you believe her as a hacker, though?
Well,
Yes.
I actually
She had a keyboard. She had 2 screens. That makes her double hacker.
Yeah, she used that special. She used that special mouse that was a 9-ball. I believed it totally.
Yeah.
I believed it totally.
I don't. Here's a question for you too, though. So I think she was miscast as a hacker, but who do you think was more miscast than out of the 3? I'm going to say so. Rihanna here, Elizabeth Shue as a nuclear physicist in The Saint, or Denise Richards as a nuclear physicist in is it World is Not Enough?
That one.
So which one? That one.
That one. Denise Richards.
Yeah.
No.
Christmas Jones. Or whatever.
Christmas Jones was not a nuclear physicist.
But remember, Christmas comes twice this year.
Yeah.
So
That's gross.
yeah, no, Rihanna is fine as a hacker.
I didn't wrap my present this way. Like that.
I'm going to stick my cock in this.
Here comes a Christmas tree. No.
Like you can't do Pierce Brosnan, so you got to do Sean Connery.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why? It's the only bond I have.
Is there anybody out there that does a Pierce Brosnan Bond accent?
Yeah, what does it sound like?
That's good.
I want to meet that guy because he's also the guy that does Timothy Dalton as well.
Yes, everyone that would no Rihanna. I don't think it takes a lot to be a hacker in a movie. You just have to be confident and then nod and be like, yeah, and then not look people in the eye when they talk to you. So it shows that you stare at screens all day. You don't interact with people. You just type. And I was like, oh yeah, I bought that. I was thinking in my head, like, who would lead this group? Because you're right. I was thinking about Danny Ocean, and his character, as I said before, is like the more the family friendly version of the Seth character from Dusk Till Dawn, where he's like, that guy walks into a room, he's in charge, and he's like, and I want like, is there a woman who walks into a room and like she's in charge no matter what happens next? And I was like, yeah. But then in my head, I was thinking it was Julia Roberts, and I was like, well, that's why she couldn't be in this movie because they already used her. And I was like, oh, because like I think Julia Roberts would be the Debbie Ocean if like we did this movie, where she'd walk in the room like, oh yeah, that woman's in charge. It's like,
so Randy, do you think that would have been a better idea is if they had used that character? Like, I
mean, she's technically an Ocean.
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to be his sister? Like, it could just be his wife.
It's funny that it's called Ocean's 8 because it's paint by numbers.
It's
paint by numbers, and it's bland. And like I said, I had watched it when it came out 3 years ago. Like 3 years ago when it came out on like HBO or whatever, I watched it, and it was super forgettable. So when you picked it, I wasn't offended because I was like, I didn't hate that, but I was like, I know there's a reason I never like sought after it or talked about it ever again, or like I locked it away into a vault. So like when I watched it again the other night, I was like, now I remember. It's fucking boring as fuck, and
that's what it is. I was like, oh,
truly, it's a couple of saving graces are as a heterosexual guy, a lot of good looking women in it. I hate to say that, gross. It's gross, but some decent. Gross.
We're just gonna be gross about it. Like, yeah, some good looking chicks in here. Yeah.
You never feel bad about saying that.
You never feel bad about watching a bunch of women in shiny dresses. Come on.
That's why I said I'm gonna go with a base thing. It's not hard to watch the screen for what is my second part. For a movie that's what, an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. I mean,
hour and 50 minutes and 13 seconds.
What?
1 hour, 50 minutes, 13 seconds. Yeah. It is almost 2 hours long.
It felt shorter.
It did not. To me, it felt like a 2 hour long movie. And I was just sitting there like, every minute is good. This is another minute of agony that I have to sit through this thing. And I was like, I got to the end and I was like, oh, I messed up again. I messed up. Why did I pick this movie? I was like, yeah, just because after watching so many movies in my entire lifetime, I've developed this sixth sense where it's like, I will see a movie and be like, I want to go watch that movie. Or I'll see a movie and go, I'll watch it later. And then later will be like 5 years later when someone's like, it's on TV. You want to watch it? Like, no, I have other things to do.
Yeah.
Like, I have to go mow the lawn. And like, and I literally, I had 2 days off to watch this movie. So that's 48 hours. I ended up watching the entire season of Arrow, season 4. I've watched 9 episodes of Star Wars Vision. I was gonna go mow the lawn again. And then I realized it was already 3:00 here and I had to watch the movie before we did this. So I was like, okay,
it's extra fresh. It's extra fresh.
So it's like, I finished the movie no more than an hour and a half ago.
Well, I want to thank you for not skipping out and doing the the movie, because I felt that way before sometimes, where I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta watch this for the
Never
show.
again. I won't do that. I won't do that to anybody ever again. I just because it's like, yeah, I've seen enough to BS my way through this, and they ask me specifics, and I'm just like, yeah, I remember that. That happened. Sure, let's move on. Like, what's the gist? Let's talk about the gist of the story. That was fun. Wasn't it fun, guys? Okay.
Joe, do you have the box office numbers for when this came out? What else was out around this time? What was a better choice to see in the theaters?
Okay, so can I start with the budget? Right? Did you the budget's like $7 million? Opening weekend was $41 million. Domestic 139 million, international about 157 million. So almost 300 million worldwide. Okay. I would not have thought that. That's pretty good. So that's a hit, right? I mean,
you throw Anne Hathaway in a movie and you're like, hey, I'm showing up.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock, I guess, still pulls it in too, to an extent. You know.
Yeah.
It's like people just show up to watch these people, and it's like, okay, whatever.
So the top 5 for the week, Ocean's 8 won that week. Solo was number 2 in the third week.
That's what it was.
Just did Solo, right? I know.
Yeah. That was our last episode.
Yeah. And Deadpool 2, number 3. At the fourth week. Hereditary was number 4. I was actually surprised. That was the first week.
Damn,
Hereditary was really good. I never would have thought that was.
I should have done Hereditary, because that's a movie I still haven't seen. Yeah. So it's like.
Me too. I've owned it for years and I've still never watched it. I got to throw it on.
It was good. I can't remember that director's name, but that movie and Midsommar, the Midsommar.
Yeah, I've seen Midsommar, and that's what that's what's like throwing me off about watching this one. Like,
Hereditary is a little more of it's not as in your face.
Okay, it's not as and it's not as artsy fartsy, I guess is what I will say.
Not as painful to be a man.
That's good.
Avengers: Infinity War was number 5 in its 7th week. So, and then for the whole year it was number 22. Number 23 was Ready Player One, which I've never seen because
that's a great fucking movie.
Really,
I like that movie.
Yeah, that is like a what's that word? It's like a fucking surprise, like left field surprise.
Yeah.
I rented that or whatever on demand when it came out on video on demand, and I'd wanted to see it in the theaters, but not enough to go to the theaters. And that's a fucking solid movie front to end.
Okay, if it's still on HBO, I'll check it out. I don't know if it is.
I read the book first, and I was like, there's no way they're going to make a movie about this. There's too many IPs in here. They're going to spend all their money on IPs to try and make this movie. And they're like, we're making a Ready Player One movie. Man. It's like, oh, this will be fun.
Right? Spielberg probably can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Wait. What was the movie again? Say it again, Joe.
Ready Player One?
I take that fully back. I don't like that movie.
Okay.
I thought I take that back. I thought you said Ready or Not, which was I think last year maybe. It was the girl who gets married into the family and they hunt her.
Oh, I like that movie.
That's a great movie. Ready Player One.
I still like Ready Player One, which I did hear correctly, and I was like, yes, I still enjoy this movie. Well, because I thought you were being on board. I was like, it's not what I expected as the movie based on the book that I read, where it's going to come towards left field. It definitely changes the tone of the book and the motive of how we finish it. So I was like, yes.
Well, now what do I do? Do I watch it or not watch it? I flip a coin at this point.
It's up to you. It is not. I've gone back to it maybe 4 times because it's just like I enjoyed the book so much that I like. Oh yeah, but the book is way darker than the movie they showed, and it's like a lot more people died.
I would definitely say watch it, Joe, just for the fact that, as Randy says, there's a lot of IP in this movie that you're gonna be surprised at. I didn't like it in the end. But I mean, it's Spielberg. It's well made. The effects are pretty good. It's an interesting story. I've never read. Ernest Cline wrote the book. I've never read the book, but I've heard it's really good. And I know he just did a sequel book to it. I think Ready Player 2.
I haven't gotten to that one yet, but it's on my list. Ready Player 2. But
and then number 21 for the year, The Meg. So right ahead
Oh,
of
I saw that in the theaters. That was a real fucking. It's a funny movie, but it's not a good movie.
I mean, I
All
assume
right.
that made all. I didn't check. I would guess it made its lion's share overseas.
That's
Right?
gonna,
Yeah,
it's gonna end up on the
Yeah,
list there.
here
The
and-
Meg.
I feel like in China it probably killed.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Hey, look, they watch
I think-
anything.
I mean, you did the top 10 of 2018. I don't know if it would go over that. It just aired last week. But we got number 10, Solo. Number 9, Ant-Man Wasp. Number 8, Mission Impossible Fallout. Number 7, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Number 6, The Grinch. Number 5, Deadpool 2, sorry. Jurassic Park, Fallen Kingdom, number 4. Incredibles 2, number 3. Avengers Infinity War, number 2. And Black Panther, number 1. I was kind of surprised by that.
Well, was Black Panther number 1 that year?
I mean, yeah, that's what it says. I mean, I feel like
I would put it in
the wrong website.
I would put it in top 3, but I would never. In my head, that's awesome because I would expect it to be Infinity War.
Yeah.
But it also came out earlier than Infinity War 2.
Yeah.
Amongst other things, it came out earlier, so it had more time. But yeah, wow, I have to admit I did not know.
I've also heard a lot of stories about guys who'd never seen a Marvel movie going to watch Black Panther and then loving it, but then like, okay, and then they watch Infinity War, having never seen another Marvel movie and having no references about any of the characters in there, and they're like, I don't like this. This is depressing, and then they hate it. And I was like, what are you doing? Why are you flipping to the end of the book?
Well,
I'm like, I don't like this book. It's boring.
Not just that, but you go see Black Panther. And that story and that character engross you enough to go see the next one, and he dies in the next one.
He dies in the next one. Like, fuck! These movies are awful.
All right, let's rate Ocean's 8, Randy's pick from 2018. Pint of Comics, we go from 0 to 5, quarter and half scale are usable. 0 being the worst, obviously 5 being the best. Randy, real quick, just to go into, because we kind of talked about the characters in this real quick before we review it. You guys have a great segment on your show called Joe Grizzly. You guys pick your favorite character from the film. Who would your Joe Grizzly be for Ocean's 8?
So for the Joe Grizzly, it's the rules. Well, the rule was it's not supposed to be the main character. It's supposed to be a side character that has a scene that's so encapsulating it almost steals the entire movie. Or sometimes in my case, I pick people who are like, without this person, there's no movie. And so I'm gonna pick the little sister because she literally shows up and saves them. And it's like, without them, they're all stuck. They had no plan in case somebody had just been like, no, we put a lock on the necklace so no one but us could take it off, no matter what. So I was like, oh, well, that's dumb. I mean, you guys saw a 3D print of it, and no one was like, how do they latch it on?
Okay. All right. That's fair. Yeah, she is. She truly is. She's maybe the most important character in the movie, and she was probably written after they wrote the screenplay and realized that they're
like,
oh
no, we got a plot hole here. That's done.
Give the hacker character a little sister. All right. Joe, let's start with you. Ocean's 8, what do you give it?
So, usually I suffer with, too sympathetic to movies and grade inflation, things like that. But this one, I just bummed out by it. I'll go with the 2. I mean, it's cool, whatever. Like I said, I feel bad that the actress was stuck with this work. Like I said, give them their own property, develop a new heist movie, make it funnier. I just thought I was disappointed. I'm disappointed for them because I don't think it's only so much the actresses could do with this, right? So I'm gonna go with the 2.
All right, we'll leave the last one for our guest Randy. I'll go next. I'm gonna mirror you totally, Joe. It's a 2. It's not bad by any real stretch of the imagination, but if it ceased to exist tomorrow, nobody would miss it. You know what I mean? Like if like the master file and all the film disappeared tomorrow, nobody would be looking for it. Nobody would go, what the fuck happened to Ocean's 8? We would just all move about our lives, There's some good, we got a bunch of good actresses in it, even though maybe they don't get a chance to give really good performances. Stylistically, I give it credit because even though we talked about it's a detriment that it's bland at the idea of style over substance, at least they did manage to effectively make this feel like it's in the Ocean's universe, right? So like at least there's that. At least if you watched all three Ocean's movies and this in a row, you would go, hey, they emulated that feeling. You know what I mean? In terms of like visuals and cinematography and music and cuts. But yeah, they didn't get any of the important stuff like story or character right. So I'm going with 2. I'm not offended by this movie, but yeah, I can't picture a reason for me to watch this a third time. All right. So from Cult 45 podcast, Random Randy Savage, he chose it. What do you give Ocean's 8?
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I think I'll give it a 2. That sounds like a good marker to be. It's just I don't know what I was thinking, or more on the point. I was like, yeah, I've never seen it, and there's no drive to watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it now just because. But it's missing something. I don't know. Like I said, it's either heart or comedy or stakes or just an antagonist, a bad guy, something like to make this like, or characters, or there are elements of these things in this movie, but none of these things are executed to a point where it's like that elevates the movie to another level where we definitely need to have this thing. Because it's like beyond that, what's the point of this movie for even existing? Because it's like, then my brain was like, well, it's probably just a tax write-off for somebody. Because it's like, yeah, how can we get a bunch of female stars in here, pay them half as much we would pay George Clooney, and then have them be in this movie and make that's what it is. They wanted to make another Ocean's movie. They couldn't afford George Clooney and Brad Pitt. So they're like, what if we just had enough money to get George Clooney? Well, then we could get like at least Anne Hathaway and maybe like 7 other people. All right, do it. And it's just like, this movie is not, I don't want to say a waste of film, but it's definitely like, there's no reason to watch this. There's no reason to come back to it. There's nothing new. There's no new information. There's no new cool scenes. If one of them could be a telepath or something, or like had the Phoenix Force, I don't know. Just make this thing something that make it interesting. Otherwise, like, there's no point to watch this movie. And I'm like, 2. I'm still at 2 because, like I said, Anne Hathaway's hot. I still have a thing for Sandra Bullock. Cate Blanchett, I will admit she is attractive in Thor Ragnarok, but like, Tilda Swinton could have played this role too, and I would have been none the wiser. Yeah. Like if Tilda Swinton had played this role and was like, oh, you're a dude, right? No, that's Lou. Oh.
I think what Joe said earlier was actually pretty true. Cate Blanchett is essentially the number 2 on this, film, I would say. Maybe Anne Hathaway gets second billing, but Cate Blanchett is kind of and she really doesn't seem, it just seems like a job between jobs. Like maybe she took it because, hey, all female cast, and that's something special to be a part of. And, and let's do that. But
it's like my kids need new soccer uniforms. Is there anything I can do right now that I could just stand in front of a camera and get a bunch of money? Yeah. We have this thing. We're doing Ocean's 8. Perfect. Let's do it.
You got 2 big scenes. You're going to drive a van and you're going to supervise people cutting vodka. That's all you really got to do. That's it. Scenes. Yeah. Can you do that? I could do that. Then we're
going to give you a green pantsuit. You're going to stand on the corner. You're not going to be a hooker. You're definitely just going to stand on the corner though. And you're going to see Sandra Bullock. And you guys are going to walk into the sunset. Well, into the moonlight. Well, into South Bronx. But other than that, you'll be fine.
All right, so that's Ocean's 18. Joe, thanks for coming in and filling in for Lloyd again. You've been great with that. Thank you for getting all the cast information and all that stuff together. On behalf of Randy, I'm sorry that you had to watch this movie, but it's okay because you watched Superman 4 with us, so in the end, it's
okay.
And my choice PMI was terrible too. I thought I was being nostalgic, but it was K9 was even worse, probably.
Yeah, that was there was some nostalgia there. It's an 80s movie too, so I got a little bit of a soft spot.
I mean, at least I wanted to watch this movie because I hadn't seen it, so that's like not a drag.
That was the whole point. I'll watch it. Check a box.
All right, Randy, tell everybody out there again about Cult 45, what you guys do, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Awesome. I'm Random Randy Savage of Cult 45 Podcast. My hope is that when you hear our episodes or when you hear the movies that we do, you go, oh yeah, I remember that movie. And you have no recollection of it at all. And it's like, and then you hear our episodes and just like John has like, oh, I remember this. I remember that. And you have a wonderful time like reminiscing and all the cool or insane things that happen in movies that you used to love, but you forgot about it. And that's where the cult part comes in. But you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cult45 Podcast. And like literally Instagram is where we live because we don't do a lot on Twitter. I do my best to try and keep the content rolling on YouTube, but Brandon's been working on like these new things called our deleted scenes where he just like puts himself in the movies and it's really funny.
Dude,
those are the best.
Those are fucking hilarious. Those are great.
We have a TikTok, and again, I do my best to try and create content, but it's like I have no ideas for it. Zero ideas. But but like I said, our episodes are weekly. We try to churn them out. We're doing our best. Right now, we're going to be working through our Black History Month, depending on when this comes out. And like then after that, we'll be having our straight Patreon month in December, where it's like we have our Patreons, they pay $3 and they get to pick the movies that we watch. And some of those movies are straight garbage. And some of those movies are like one of my more favorite episodes. Like I didn't particularly like the movie, but Blue is the Warmest Color was the funniest thing. And I hated that movie because it reminded me exactly of what it was like being surrounded by a bunch of snooty like film students who want to talk about art and color. And I was like, I want to make comic book movies. And they're like, so as I was saying, they're like, oh, you know, fuck you.
I'm a listener. I'm a Patreon as well. I gave you guys my suggestion. I hope you guys eventually get around to it. But
what was it?
The Stuff.
Ooh,
the Stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Killer dessert. So check these guys out. Cult 45. If you listen to the Pint, seriously, go listen to the newest episode. Go listen to an old episode. You're gonna laugh your ass off. Beat them down, and Randy put on an awesome show. You know us, Pint of Comics. You know where to find us. Pint Pint _O _comics on Instagram. At Pint of Comics on Twitter. I tend to do more stuff on Instagram as well. Facebook, Pint of Comics, and we come out with new episodes weekly. And that's it, Joe. Say the words, and we'll go away.
See ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.